Sky Squad, we are back in the building. It's your resident Sherlock homeboy. And for this episode, we are trying to find this woman. If anyone knows where this woman is, I think we could solve a lot of the problems going down in the Potomac. So at this moment, I am putting out an APB on Lebe. Yes, this is Finding Lebe. How can we find this woman at the source of all the angst and drama down to Potomac between Wendy and Nneka? How can we find Alebe so somebody could do an interview with her? Probably won't be me because y'all know I don't really like to be scheduling things like that. But somebody in the streets, would y'all please interview this woman so we can find out what the heck is going on? Actually, maybe it would be better to just get Lebe and Ivy in the room together, to have a ponderosa to really discover what's really going on. However, .org, we need to figure out what in the world is going on down to the streets of Potomac, because all of this right here, all of this chaos and confusion, I cannot take not one nay mo bit of it. Okay, I'm so frustrated. But you know what doesn't frustrate me though? When we have a sponsor. Oh yes, baby, we have got a sponsor, and I want to thank you guys for being so supportive of our sponsors. Let's go ahead and get into this sponsorship right here. Today's video is sponsored by Scentbird. A big part of my getting ready routine after I moisturize, of course, is to figure out which scent I'm going to wear. And with Scentbird's subscription service, you can choose new designer fragrances each month for only $17. I like that I can test out new fragrances with a 30-day supply, and I can match my fragrance for my vibes. I'm not even gonna lie, my favorite out of this month's mix is Bottega Veneta. It's a strong, charismatic mix of bergamot and leather, so it creates this great masculine scent that lasts all night long. But because I like a little variety, I love a good floral scent too. Heretic's Floorgasm is the ultimate luxury. Imagine a burst of orange blossom, jasmine, and again, the note of bergamot just takes it over the top for me. The wild card is Sanctuary's Cross River Gorilla. It's perfect for hitting the town. For me, it's the notes of smoked leather and velvetier that just gives it that extra exciting feeling. And best of all, I can carry each scent with me in case I need to refresh before hitting the next event. Y'all be sure to get your monthly subscription today. Oh, and it's no hassle, so you can cancel at any time. Use my code DJRS for 55% off. So that's just $7 for your first month. Also available in the US and Canada. And now we are back to our regularly scheduled episode of Finding Lebe. However, since we haven't quite found Lebe yet, what we have found are text messages from Lebe. Oh, yes, Dr. Wendy Osefo has leaked the messages. She has released the Kraken. So let's go ahead and get down to the Instagram streets and discover what she had to say. Because our friends over at Reality TV Source have got the tea for us. Link will be in the description in case you guys cannot, for some reason, see this or cannot audibly hear what I'm telling you, so that you guys can go and check it out for yourself. Okay. So Wendy has said, "Sigh. I have really been minding my business this season and not reacting slash tweeting about Real Housewives of Potomac. But this narrative is getting malicious. You say you don't know me, but a year and a half ago, before we started filming, you kept pressing Lebe to ask me to have dinner with you." So here is a message that is allegedly from Lebe, who says on March 19th of 2022, allegedly, "Hey, love." And then the next message is, "Hey, love, how are you?" Now, the next message that is allegedly from Lebe says, "I'm good, darling. How does your schedule look? I'd love to get together for brunch or dinner. My in-law just moved here from LA, and Bravo's production team has approached her about coming on to a show." So all this is going on last year, baby. Last year. Now, Nneka then tweets and says this: "Wait, so you're familiar with me and suddenly you know Lebe? I've had a relationship with Bravo for 2 years, but I use your name? Now you're fabricating text too? Where does the text say I wanted to meet with you? It doesn't. Tell the truth and shame you know who. Hashtag Real Housewives of Potomac." why all the conversations betwixt these two ladies got to be laced with some form of, you know, something a little sinister. Like, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Wendy says, well, not necessarily as much on Wendy's half, I don't think. Anyway, Wendy says, you say you don't know me, but in this episode, you talk about my daughter's sipping seed from 2019. Now, we're going to get to this, but I wanted to have this discussion first before we got into the discussion about what happened in the episode. Trust, it'll make sense. So she says, an event that happened 4 years before you joined the show. So you tell me, love, how do you know details from the party if you don't know who threw the party? Then Wendy goes on to say, and yes, my sister and your cousin-in-law did have a falling out. One of the many reasons being Lebe was name dropping me, calling me her cousin to get a BBL. The whole squad is full of clout chasers. So here, what you see is a message. It appears to be that these messages are maybe perhaps to Ivy or perhaps to Wendy. I can't tell, but I just know that it says, hey, 20, I need a favor. I'm trying to get the BBL, and I know you posted the doctor you used, but I wasn't sure if you had an in with him. His schedule is booked until next year. I know surgeons can do add-ons if they know you. Can you or your assistant please request if they can squeeze me in? I'm throwing Sam a party in February next year, and I need my body to be snatched. I already alerted his practice that I would ask my friend to assist, and they said it's between my friend, you, and the manager to get me in. Now, a follow-up message on September 23rd, because I guess the BBL recommendation had not been made, was saying, hey, boo, I know you're extremely busy, but I couldn't resist, and I had to lobby for an appointment with your doctor by name dropping. So, yeah, my appointment got moved up to December. Yay, thank God. I hope, Lord, Lebe, did you get the BBL? Okay? Because all of this excitement around you, at this point, Lebe should be getting endorsements. Okay? Lebe should be getting endorsements. She shouldn't even have to, be asking for to name drop to get the BBL, because now Lebe's name is in lights. Okay. Anyway, it says, good job, 20. Keep making hashtag Team Wendy proud. And then the message says, oh, really? Send me a screenshot of your book order. And so I guess she was saying, oh, yeah, I got your book or whatever like that. So send me a screenshot of what you ordered. Okay. Or something like that. I don't know. So anyway, then Wendy says, after the drama at Ashley's event came up, I came up to you and gave you my number because I felt like they were trying to pit us against each other. You could have called or texted me if you really had an issue, but you went to lunch with Robin instead and decided to gossip. Now, I feel like that is an appropriate place for us to really begin this discussion, because hopefully it will give you guys a better context as to what's really playing out here. Because for the most part, Sherlock Homeboy still doesn't quite get it, and I don't even know if I care anymore. However, we're here, so let's go ahead and get into this episode. All right, on the scale of 1 to 10, what am I rating this episode? I'm gonna rate this episode probably in a 7.5. Now, I would have rated it at 8. My spirits was saying at 8, but then I thought, well, I mean, and I'm talking, I feel like I got the Holy Spirit. So, no other spirits are being, called to forth or henceforth or whatever in this jamboree. The spirit except the spirit of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make that clear, because there's so much spirits talk about on the Real Housewives of Potomac that, I don't know what, I don't want anybody to be confused about what spirits we're talking about, because I feel like, I don't even know how I got on this discussion of spirits, but I just felt like, my spirit was inclined to speak on the spirits. So anyway, my spirit is telling me initially give it an 8, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna give it a 7.5, because I mean, I'm still searching for Lebe. So until I find Lebe, not on my channel, but on somebody else's channel, and get some real answers and some clarity. You know what I think? I think Ivy and Lebe probably need to go on the conversation down to the Zeus, okay? Because they don't care if you fight. So if they want to fight, because on Potomac they probably shy away from the fight. Sound like the issues between Wendy and Nneka are really secondhand issues that Ivy and Lebe got, two people who ain't even on the show. So that's why I say if you can get them down to the Zeus, down to the conversation, then they can fight and scrap it out. You know what I'm saying? However they choose to do so. Now I know a lot of y'all don't like the violence and things like that. So you ain't got to watch the Zeus. You know what I'm saying? I would watch it just to find out what's really going on and see who won the fight. But not that I'm encouraging people to fight anyway, because I just feel like, but you know what? Honestly, here we are. Okay. Nobody else is respecting anything. So I'm almost to the point where like I mean, why should I? But that's the problem with this show at this point. I don't know that enough care is being taken to really show the representation of Nigerian culture in the way that it probably should for casual viewers who are not of Nigerian descent. I.e., so you have like people who might be watching this in Middle America, and they might be leaving these episodes with this idea of what it means to be Nigerian. And this, what we're seeing on the screen, cannot be, in my mind, it cannot be the thing that provides an education on Nigerian culture. Because to a certain degree, I would have to ask, is the show responsible for portraying Nigerians in the best of light? And granted, we have to understand that these two women and these two families don't necessarily represent the whole, it's not a monolith, right? You know, Wendy has said this. I think she said it on the Sherry Show. However, comma.org, this is what we're getting, right? So then I have to go to the two people at the source of this conflict and ask myself, why didn't these two ladies, as Wendy stated, sit down and have a ponderosa amongst themselves to determine, hey, listen, you know what? Some of this conversation and discourse is probably going to be a bit confusing, right, for the audience. And this is not the representation that we want to provide for, the viewing audience. You know what I'm saying? Because there are so many aspects of our culture that are so amazing, and we're totally leaving out a lot of that, right? And so how can we have a conversation that's truthful and authentic and really get to the root of the issues without this turning into something else? Because these ladies are turning this into something, dark and sinister, and I don't like that. Me personally, I'm speaking that. Right? So anyway, I have said all this before. I don't want to say it again. This is probably the last time I'm going to say it. The reason it's the last time I'm going to say it is because I feel like it's not going to change. Nothing's going to change on the show. This is what we're stuck with. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll with it from this perspective, from this point forward. Capiche? Cool. Let's go. So anyway, Gizelle, Mia, and Ashley are all getting together for the shopping because Ashley wants to take the girls down to Austin, Texas to see the drag queens. Now, I know that there has got to be more to the Austin, Texas than the drag queens because you got the drag queens here. You know what I'm saying? But however, comma.org, whatever it takes to get the group down to Austin, fine. I'm cool with it, right? Anyway, they all believe in Nneka's accusations about Wendy's mom. Okay, let's get down to it. Do I believe that Wendy's mom or Ivy might have made some calls in regards to this idea of Nneka joining the show? Yeah, probably so. I mean, but who knows if if this is all an effect of Ivy and Lebe falling out, or B, Ashley sprinkling fairy dust onto the stories and putting stank on everything and making a thing. Who knows? I don't know. Did Wendy not want Nneka on the show? I don't know. I can't speak to it. It's just complicated to me. But I will say, Nneka has stuck to her story. So I do believe a call was made, but the extent to which the conversation went to wherever it went to, I don't know. And then it does feel like, to a certain degree, Nneka, why didn't you just have a conversation with Wendy to get to the bottom of this whole thing and squash it? I feel like if this show had come on back in the old days, like, in the heyday of reality TV, I feel like the two women would have had a conversation at some point. Like, I feel like somebody would have put them together and said, like, listen, we sit y'all down and really hash this thing out so we can really move past this, because nobody understands what's going on. I don't know if y'all understand what's going on, and it's just odd. Okay. Why has nobody not done that yet? Because these group conversations ain't gonna work. Anyway, you know what, though? Never mind all that, because it's a good thing that Gizelle is here to ask Jamal, of all people, listen, about all the things of the shrine. And, Jamal says, oh, no, this is all real. Okay. Now that Jamal has spoken, I guess we can all go home. You know what I'm saying? Send in your tithes and all that good stuff like that. Regardless, Gizelle says that Wendy, her husband, and her mama are all working together for the evil. The funny thing about that comment is when I did my preview on this, I was like, that was the funny thing. But the funnier thing about this was Ashley's comment after that when she says, oh, I wasn't going to go that far. Girl, yes, I'm sure that wasn't the plan. Yet here we are. I just think that that was so interesting when she said that. She was like, it sounded to me like, girl, the plan was only to take it here. Like you're now taking it to a whole different place that I had no intentions or we didn't agree to ahead of time. So it's gone even further. This is the problem that I have with Gizelle. Similar to the situation last season with Candiace and Chris, there would have been one thing I think if she had simply said, I was in the room with Chris and I felt uncomfortable by the situation. That is something that, we cannot argue with how she felt. However, Come.org is when she started to put the stank on it, and she also added in the, she felt like he was a sneaky link and trying to see if he was with it, coupled with the fact that then Ashley ran back and also had some things to say about Chris texting her or DMing her upon late in the heat of the night or whatever in the midnight hours and allegedly making her feel comfortable, and then throwing Deborah in the mix, claiming that he was staring at her. It seemed like, this is what it come across like. And I'm not saying this is what it is, but this is what it come across like. And because of the history of this show, you cannot blame the audience for thinking this. It comes across like there's always a plan, a scheme, a plot ahead of the season to come at somebody with something or to do something. And it just feels like this instance where Ashley was like, I wasn't going to go that far. It feels to me like, oh, we had a plan here. We had a point where we were going to take this story, and you, girl, just took it. You just pushed the limits with it. And that, again, like I said, that's the problem with Gizelle. It always feels like she took the plan too far. Okay. Just like I said, when she said about Chris, oh, he was a sneaky link, and I think he wanted to try to see if I was with it. That she took it too far. We can go back to season 5 if we want to. When we found out that she was talking about a trainer and all kinds of other things, and then it became that somebody's child was not their own, and it was like, girl, like you're going too far. And then when you get to the reunion, you sit there and act like you didn't have anything to do with it. Like, oh my God, like, I only said this. I only did that. I only said he made me uncomfortable. No, you didn't. It's always the extra amount of sauce that's put on it that then turns a situation from a little bit of gossip, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, to something really deep, something that you can usually never come back from. And you've done that now you've done that 3 or 4, 5, 6 times now. And we've only had 8 seasons. Okay. So that's my issue. People think that, oh, you don't like Gizelle. That ain't even the case. It's just that I don't like some of the stuff that she does and the positions that she puts herself in. You know what I'm saying? Because it then creates a situation where you can't even move beyond arguments. You know what I'm saying? Because they've gone too far. Meanwhile, that scene is intercut with Wendy and Eddie, out for lunch. Wendy thinks that Nneka just came there, to, attack her basically. And the producer asked Wendy, well, what about Ike and Eddie being friends? And Wendy's kind of like, well, computing. What? I don't know. Now, I didn't understand why she was going through all those motions, but what I will do is I will agree that, who can remember the friends that you had when you was in college, especially if you were a grown person now who was paying bills. Meanwhile, Nneka is getting a lot of pressure from her family, so she is at the doctor with her husband Ike, who has seemingly not wanted to be there, right? They recap pickleball, and Nneka does say that she feels horrible for that shrine information coming out the way that it did. It was just in the heat of the moment. She could not believe what Wendy was saying and doing. And she admits that she should have had a private conversation. Then I'm like, well, girl, why haven't you had it yet? You know what I'm saying? Because every time you have an opportunity to talk about, to do anything in the group, it's about you and Wendy. Okay. So it's like, girl, well, why haven't you had this sit down ponderosa with her yet? Like, just get this thing over so we can all move on. Meanwhile, I would assume that, we're just going to continue to be traumatized week after week after week while you guys circle the drain and never have a sit down ponderosa together. Meanwhile, I'm voicing my frustrations. The doctor that comes in has a very laissez-faire attitude. Like I don't have like I because this man is a doctor and he showed his face on the television. I'm not gonna give a critique on what I felt about his interactions with them were, other than it seemed very laissez-faire. What I will also say is that here we have another generalization about Nigerians where he's like, and maybe this is a thing that feels more like kitchen table talk, but this idea that Nigerians are very fertile, and then it coming into stark contrast with the expectations of her family. Personally, I really would have rather heard more about this than anything else. But anyway, than the shrines. But here we are. Is it just me, or does it seem like there's a lot of tension between Nneka and Ike? Like some of the ways that they talk to each other, when she says, when she's like, well, "Can you just stop talking?" I cannot imagine ever speaking to my like significant other in that way. I just can't personally. But I don't talk to nobody like that, to be very honest with you. I try to be very respectful in my interactions. Even when I'm angry, I don't tend to raise my voice simply because I feel like I'm angry, but I'm also trying to convey a point, right? Like I don't argue to argue. And so I don't also disrespect the people in my life. And in turn, my expectation is that they don't disrespect me either. So that level of the conversation between them is interesting to me. Mia and G go to therapy. Now, in this situation, we learned that there has been yet another hit to their finances, wherein they hired an attorney for a sale of something. I don't know if it was a company, property, or what. And apparently, in this sale, there was some money that was made, and the attorney kept the money in escrow, but really, the attorney allegedly never gave them their money. Then they had to do an investigation. They reported the attorney. The attorney then was disbarred, and then the attorney subsequently ended the attorney's life. I think I encapsulated that as best I possibly could. I don't know where this came from. I had not heard about this, but it is very sad and shocking. And so this is yet another hit to their marriage. And for Gordon, I can definitely understand his desire to want to work and work and work and put the family in a better position. Especially, I think it's very hard to live at a certain level and then have to then have to revert to another place where you've already been and you don't want to go back to. So I can see him working extra hard, but I can also understand Mia's perspective that you want to be able to also spend time with your family, your kids, because while you can get more money, you cannot get more time. And that's just it. We learn here that she has thought about divorce. So we're starting to get the breadcrumbs being sort of left for us with how this situation is going to play out with Mia and Gordon. And I would really like to understand the nuances of this a bit more, but we're spending a lot of time on shrines, so we don't have time for that right now. Anyway, everybody's packing for Austin. The best part of this episode to me was Gizelle and Grace at the house before Gizelle was leaving, and she's asking Grace to watch out for her sisters bringing boys back in the house while she's gone. I'm like, these girls ain't thinking about no boys. They, because they just seem so young and they still in that whole like school mindset or whatever. But anyway, Grace is like, that's not my business. That to me, like that little moment right there was like, oh, finally some fun in this show. Anyway, at the airport, Nneka plans on dealing with Wendy with kindness and respect. Let's see how long that lasts. Meanwhile, Ashley divides the cars when they do get to Austin based on astrological signs. So for whatever reason, that means Nneka, Karen, Gizelle, and Ashley are in one car. And then you have, I guess, Candiace, Robin, Mia, and Wendy in another car. Now, in the Karen and Gizelle and Ashley and Nneka car, Gizelle is like, well, Karen, do you love Robin? And Karen is like, I like Robin. But you know what? I'm not eating the whole pie. I'm going to take the pie out of the freezer. I'm going to cut the pie. I'm going to have a slice of pie, but I'm not going to eat the rest of the pie. I'm going to throw this pie back in the refrigerator. I might thaw it out for Halloween, for Thanksgiving, but it depends on what type of pie. Is it pumpkin pie? Is it sweet potato pie? Is it, that nasty, what is that, pecan pie? I can't stand a pecan pie, but it might be a pecan pie. It could be cheesecake. I really don't know, because I don't know what she's talking about at all in this sense. And I would try, but I'm still on the shrine, so I cannot figure it out what she means. Also, Karen, I'm gonna have to come back to you next week when I got more time on my hands and more mental capacity. But never fear, because the pie thing is gonna come back up. And Karen is giving Phaedra right now to me. But anyway, I mean that in a good way. And so anyway, over in the Wendy, Candiace, Robin, and Mia call, Robin's got the vapors being there with Candiace, and Candiace is uncomfortable. Okay, so they get to the hotel and everybody is marveling over Ashley's penthouse suite. It's ooh, ooh. I mean, yes, you would have thought they had never been into a suite before, but it was like this was probably one of the other moments that I enjoyed, because it was the only other moment of actual joy in the episode. So anyway, Robin also is getting the penthouse suite. Yes, I love it when people are rewarded for their behavior. And so Karen is like, well, she doesn't deserve that. But somehow the Robin pie comes back up into the group. And I thought this was over. Everybody else thought it was over. But here we are back to the patty pies. And so now Karen has taken half the pie out of the freezer. Now it's only a quarter of the pies in the freezer. So I think she ate the other pie. She don't want to eat a whole pie. She don't want a mouthful. But some kind of way, Robin is the pie. Anyway, next thing you know, Candiace, Wendy, and Karen link up at the pool. Okay, and they marvel at all the construction going on around the hotel, and they also marvel at how well Wendy is handling everything. And Wendy's like, "I'm fine. I don't know that girl from a pan of cane anyway, so it's fine. I have no vested interest." So Ashley then arrives to the construction zone, and it's tequila time, followed by Gizelle and Nneka, and things start to get awkward. Karen dives right on into the issues with Candiace and Gizelle. And Candiace chimes in that Gizelle doesn't want to acknowledge her because if she doesn't speak to Candiace, then she will disappear. And lo and behold, Candiace is still there. In this conversation, this is an echo of something that I think has been made pretty obvious here on this show. I think you guys saw the best version of it after the Candiace and Monique altercation, when the ladies chose to ice out Monique. I think that I think that the cast just kind of understands that that's what happens, and I think that's understood on any show. If you just stop speaking a person's name, if you stop speaking to them, if you don't look at them, if you don't acknowledge their presence or their existence, then you can most likely assume that they're going to be out of the show. And Gizelle, knowing that she sits in the power position within this dynamic, I think she's fairly comfortable with that position, so she doesn't have to make any changes or whatever like that. And Candiace, standing in her own 2 feet, she's standing her ground, because she's like, no, you're not going to be able to do what you did, and you make that accusation and you put these things out there, and you were very hurtful, and you now are showing absolutely no remorse for what you did. Now, like, why would I ever want you back in my life? You know what I'm saying? So it almost feels like we're stuck in a Candy Phaedra type situation, where at some point in time, someone is either going to have to give or someone's going to have to go. And I don't know. I guess I got to keep following, because what I will say is one thing. Like, what I will say is this: the issues that they have with each other are valid based on the things that have been said and done. But we are watching a television show and we want to be entertained. And so this rift is actually affecting the entertainment value of the show. So now what do? One of the two of them are going to have to bend, fold, or break, because at the end of the day, I'm okay with you ignoring somebody for a hot minute while you still going, while you still processing, but we in a different season now. So, I can't say that the expectation should be just get over it, but if you can't get over it, then what are we going to do? Right. That's just the reality of the mechanics of how these shows work. Because then it becomes no longer a show about good girlfriends who live behind the gates. What am I talking about? I mean, we're not. Oh well. Gizelle says she did not say that. She doesn't say she was gonna ice her out. Girl, you didn't have to say it. Because the subtext is there. If Gizelle also is in that ringleader position, she knows that some of these other girls are gonna follow suit, right? And Gizelle also says it would be dangerous. It's not safe for her to interact with Candiace. And I'm like, girl, you the danger. You are the danger. Okay. Anyway, so I just thought that was wild to me. Anyway, Karen is like, well, girl, if you and I could get back on a good fit, surely you and Candiace can too. Um, then Mia is out walking with Robin, and she tells Robin the attorney story because Robin had a similar situation go on with her earlier on that we heard about in season one. So it's nice to see them commiserate or whatever. I feel bad in both of those situations, and that scene I feel like was maybe meant to kind of humanize Robin a bit more and remind us that, oh, she's human, she's been through some things. But back at the construction zone, Karen asked why Gizelle was so quiet at the pickleball, and Gizelle says her spirits was disturbed by the whole witchcraft of it all. And so at that point, Candiace is like, that's a disturbing allegation. And so she tries to initiate a conversation between Wendy and Nneka. And I'm like, finally, somebody is hopefully coming to their senses and trying to nip this thing in the bud. But Nneka is standing on the fact that Wendy's mom allegedly called her and threatened her with the shrinery. And then Gizelle points out that Wendy's mom has said similar things about Mia last season. Cue Mia and Robin right on time. And Gizelle is like, Mia, didn't her mama put you on the altar or something? And so Wendy's like, no, for clarification, I will read you exactly what my mom said about the Holy Ghost fire and thunderstorm. Amen. Okay. And so she's like, see, no witchcraft. I mean, to be fair, there was no craftery in that statement, but it was still you're gonna learn about the Holy Ghost fire. So because I refuse to play about any of these things, I'm just gonna leave it alone. Because at the end of the day, I just gonna leave it alone. That's it. Giving Lord honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I come to you guys here today from the church of how like when you got to go to the church and you got to say and they make the people get up, the strangers get up and announce where they from, and then you got to say, yes, I bring you greetings from First Oak Hill Baptist Church down the street or whatever like that. That's where I'm at with it right now. I'm giving honor and grace to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm just happy to be here today. That's basically where I'm at with it. Mia did feel like she was being sent to the Holy Ghost fire, and Robin, of course, thinks it sounds threatening because Robin actually thinks that the mama might have done something to her, and that's why she's going through all of this. And I'm like, if you're looking for, I feel like now you're looking in the wrong place right now, girl. Like you need to. The call is coming from inside the house. Robin. Anyway, oh Lord. Wendy says this is all about Lebe and Ivy. Ah! Can you believe it? Where are they? Where are they? Okay. Where are Lebe and Ivy when you need them? This is all betwixt the two of them. To be Nneka's clapping, nice try, thunderstorm, hey. It's just, I mean, what is happening? So anyway, the genesis of this is Wendy and Ivy. Do I know her? Do I not know her? Am I upset that she is here? Do I only want to be the only Nigerian? That is what Ashley believes. Ashley and Robin and Mia all believe that Wendy wanted to be the only Nigerian on the planet. And that will be that. You know what I'm saying? Because she is the one. She is the only. You know what I mean? That is it. That's what they think that she wanted. And so then we get into the history of Lebe. We're getting into phone calls and dialing on separate lines and T-Mobile and Comcast and Verizon and April. And I'm thinking to myself, where the heck is Lebe? They have mentioned Lebe's name 52 times in this episode alone. Okay, I hope the drinking word of the night on Watch What Happens Live was Lebe. Okay, because it should have been. Anyway, apparently Lebe and Wendy aren't friends, but there's some BBLs in the mix, hopefully Lebe got the BBL. Lord, Lebe, if you didn't get that BBL for free, you need to go back and ask for your money now at this point in time, because you are famous, girl. At this point, you are famous. You know what I'm saying? So next time you decide to get a BBL or whatever else you want done, simply reference your credits. Real Housewives of Potomac, baby. So then it comes out that, Wendy's like, I barely know Lebe or something like that. But oh, lo and behold, Lebe was at your baby's christening. Why was she there getting a gala? Why was she there? Okay. If you don't know Lebe, why was she there? If your sister was so angry at her, why was she given a dedication at the ceremony? And Candiace is looking like, oh, Wendy girl, she making some sense. How you say you don't know this girl, but she was at your party? Okay. I don't know. Anyway, refer back to the messages that I did show you guys earlier. And also, for anybody out there who can find Lebe, I think that finding Lebe will actually clear up a lot of what we have going on here. You know what I'm saying? So if there's anybody out there who knows where this woman is, please report her to the proper authorities who may do an interview with her so that we can talk about it at a later date and really understand what is going on down to the Potomac.